preparing for holiday sermons are always difficult because you don't want to say the same thing you say every year. You try to come up with something new. And I think that's why I particularly like the scriptures today. Because they tell us there is nothing new under the sun. That all things are just things that are part of life. I think about it. Older I get, more part of life things become. It's part of life to sometimes watch the youth. I watch my grandchildren. I watch the kids at play. And all I can say is, boy, sometimes that energy is wasted on the youth.
Amen.
Wish I had that energy still that you see in children. I wish I had the enthusiasm I see in children at times. And I look and I find people who are in that middle life and they're trying to just find their way. They work hard each and every day to provide for a family, to provide for the people they love. And sometimes they forget to provide for themselves. I think I've been there. Been there in my life where my first and only goal was to find a job that paid enough to take care of those I loved. And we worked really hard on that. Remember buying like all new Easter clothes or Christmas gifts or Christmas outfits. And out of them all, who didn't get one? I think anybody who has been responsible for other people in their lives know they're the ones who didn't get one because they did it for other people. And then I think we get older in life. And I think about it. And I think about friends dying. It shocks me. Sometimes have to do funeral services for people that are younger than me. And I think, why, God? Why? It just seems like things don't work out. And then I see those who live good long lives. And I wonder why God has blessed them with those good long lives sometimes, because I'm not sure they deserved it. Hate to say that. And I'm glad I'm not God and I don't have to make those choices. War, I've saw that since I was born. Just because I'm one of those baby boomers. So they've been there forever. Don't remember a time went by that there wasn't a war somewhere. Peace, very short periods of it. When you think our things are safe, and the world is in good shape, people have what they need and want, and then a natural disaster comes. There's people on TV asking you to donate to the different causes. I think about this particular city, especially this area. At one time, it was a thriving area. Businesses on corners, and one thing, when I came to Paducah first, I asked somebody about the city, and they said it's the only city you're going to find a church and a bar on every corner.
And a car lot.
And a car lot, a used car lot. Can't say that's true anymore. When I look around, there's not quite as many churches and very few bars if you really think about it. Still a lot of car lots. But life has changed. Parts of the city are being revised and other parts are being left behind. And I think about that. Who makes those choices? Who chooses who should live in an area that is up and coming? And who chooses that people should live in a area that's falling apart. And I read Revelations, and I think about a new heaven, a new earth, God among us, where all God's children are included, where we're God's people, and God walks with us each and every day. It's a dream, I think, that I see in my eyes at times, I feel in my heart at times, and I wonder if I'll ever see it. If I'll ever see a world, a new city, a place where all God's children are included, where all God's children are part of this world. I think of the New Year's. Each year I think they're going to get so much better. They're going to be so much better. We're all going to learn to accept people for their differences. We're going to all learn that people who worship may call God something other than what I call God. They may see their way to heaven a little differently than I see my way to heaven. Because I'm a real Christian. I'll admit that. I'm a firm believer that my way to heaven is through Jesus Christ, who saved my soul and showed me the way. For others, their path is different. And it's not my job to judge. I'll leave that up to the new heaven and earth to make those judgments. I think Jesus was telling us a little bit about those judgments and how they'd be made when he gave us that parable about the shepherd gathering all the folks, all those sheep and all those goats together. And then that time came where you needed to be separated. And he put the sheep on the right hand, and he put the goats on the left hand. And he asked them simple questions. When you saw someone hungry, did you feed them? When you saw them naked, did you clothe them? Were they thirsty, and did you give them drink? Were they in prison? And I think about that word a lot. I don't think it's that structure always that's down there on 7th Street. I think sometimes prisons are walls that human beings put around themselves. Those prisons that say, you're different than regular folks, so you can't be part of society. You're in this special group. I think prison sometimes is that part that says, you're black, so you're over here. You're brown, so we're going to put you here. You're white, so you're over here. And those are prisons we put ourselves into. Prisons that say you're poor, you're middle class, and you're rich. So we're all in prisons. You were born here. You weren't. Think about all those things. And I wonder why we put ourselves in those prisons. Why can't we just say we're God's children? God created us. And God must have loved diversity. Look at the differences that he put in this world. He puts color schemes together that I would never think to put together. And they're beautiful. God had a vision. And that vision was that we are all created in God's image. That image of love. That image of acceptance. That image of creativity. And we as human beings diluted that so much. The new year is here. And we need to answer some of those questions. Do we pray for the sick? Do we visit the sick? Do we try to break down some of those prison walls that we've put around ourselves? Do we try to feed those that are hungry? Here at church a few times we've had trouble with money and the water has been turned off. And I appreciated so much the people who brought in jugs of water to flush the toilets or give us
Oh.
a drink. Have we worried about people without water? We've been there, but do we worry about others without? I think of clothing. I cry sometimes when I worked at the school system and I'd be called out to service a computer somewhere and I'd see little kids going to school. It's freezing out. And they have a sweatshirt on because they don't own a coat. And I thought, why aren't we clothing the children? God has given us so many gifts, each and every one of us. And He's blessed us with one more year. One more year where we will see new life come into this world. And we will see some leave this world. New life that gives us one more chance to be on the side of the sheep, to look around and see who needs what, to open our hearts to tear down those walls that we've built around people. One more day to pray for those in need. One more chance to go to the store and pick up a little something extra to put in the food for those that are hungry. One more year to think about giving coats, giving shoes, or just giving our hearts to those in need. God has given us special gifts, each and every one of us. Because you see, we are part of that diverse world. And God's counting on us to be the sheep. Amen.
Amen.